I did a video a few months ago talking about the mentality it takes to punch hard, to be a devastating puncher. It's not just about technique. It's not just about physical strength or any of that kind of stuff, or punching power, hitting correct. It's not just about all that. It's about the intention behind your punches. You can teach somebody the greatest technique in the world, but if they don't have the mean intention in their mind when they're delivering the punch, then the punch is not going to be anywhere near as powerful and as authoritative as it needs to be, or as it could be. This is one of the problems with Gerald Washington. The guy is an athlete, 6'6", in great condition, appears to have all the physical tools necessary to be a top flight heavyweight. But mentally, he is just not mean enough. He don't have it in him. I mean, when you're fighting the likes of an Eddie Chambers and you're outboxing him soundly from long range, but you're still afraid of this guy getting close to you, that really speaks volumes about where he's at. When you're in there against an Amir Mansour and you're outboxing him early, you're busting up his face. You're winning handily, actually. But then in the mid-rounds, Amir Mansour starts putting the pressure on you and reduces you to throwing literally no punches. Then once again, that just shows that your mentality is not what it should be. This is the problem with Gerald Washington. Mentally, he's not mean enough for this game. I was reading some comments online. Some people were criticizing Washington's trainer for the way that Washington fought, saying that, he should have prepared him better, and Washington was just allowing himself to get caught on the ropes, and he wasn't throwing an authoritative jab, and this, that, and the other. And all that may be true in terms of him not doing what was necessary. But at the end of the day, if you've got a fighter who isn't mean, who can't naturally assert himself against aggressive characters and aggressive fighting styles, if you've got a fighter that has that type of mental weakness, then it don't matter what you teach him, because he's not going to be able to execute under pressure. So in that sense, I would say, I'm not gonna say the trainer is absolved of responsibility, because I don't know what he taught Gerald Washington. I don't know if he taught him the right thing or the wrong thing. What I do know is Gerald Washington doesn't have the mental fortitude to be able to execute the correct game plan against somebody like a Jarrell Miller, because he's just not mentally tough enough. Don't have the meanness, don't have the mental toughness to be able to do it. I'm not saying the guy is a coward at all, because at the end of the day, he didn't quit in the fight. He took his beating like a man. He stood there and took it, when really the ref could have stopped it earlier. But he don't have the mental toughness to step forward and take the fight by the scruff of the neck. There was one point in the fight where he did kind of make his last stand, but it was far too little. He needed to be fighting with that type of conviction all the way through. It's like he had a goal, and then when he didn't get the desired result, he started feeling sorry for himself again. That can't work at the top levels in heavyweight boxing or in boxing in general. It can't work, man. You have to be mean all the time in that ring. You have to train mean. You have to train with a mean mentality. If you train in the gym mean, and you're being mean to your sparring partners, you're hitting the heavy bag mean, then that's going to translate into the fight. But if you're in sparring and you're being polite, and you're hitting the bag politely, and everything is neat and tidy and polite, then you're going to be polite in the ring too. That can't work. You got to be mean, man. Train mean. When you're hitting the bag, you're hitting the bag with force, with wicked intentions. You're imagining your opponent, you're imagining destroying your opponent's jaw. fracturing eye sockets, cracking ribs. That's what you're imagining in your mind when you're hitting the bag. You're training this meanness into you. So when you get in there in the ring, you can switch it on and you're in fight mode. You're not going in there to play chess with nobody. You're going in there to hurt them. You're a heavyweight, for God's sake. You're 6'6". Again, Gerald Washington, just too nice. He don't have that meanness in him. Maybe somebody could train it into him, but it will be a long process because training the mind is a lot more difficult than training the body. Believe you me. So, yeah, that's what it is, people. This is why they say boxing is 80% mental. Because you could be the greatest athlete in the world, you could have all the physical gifts, but if you're not quite there mentally, if you don't quite have the right mentality, you'll get found out. I mean, Audley Harrison is kind of a classic case of that, because Audley Harrison was an Olympic gold medalist. He did have a lot of natural talent, but mentally he was so fragile that he wasn't able to fulfill his potential in terms of the natural talent that he did have. He would just crumble in pressure situations mentally. He just couldn't take it. I'm not going to say Gerald Washington's and Audley Harrison, but there are similarities there in terms of he just can't take the next step. He just can't take the next step. And these kind of things are very often innate. The right mentality is often something you're born with. It can be cultivated to a certain degree, but more often than not, people like Jarrell Miller, he was probably that way from a child. He's probably inherited a lot of his character traits from one or both of his parents in terms of being this larger-than-life, assertive type of character. And obviously, he's been in combat sports from a very young age, so he has that kind of confidence that he can deal with whatever's thrown at him. Anyway, let me not waffle on for too long here, just giving you guys some food for thought. It's all in the mind, people. It's all in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. When it comes to throwing an authoritative jab, it starts in the mind. What is the intention behind the punch? If you don't have the intention to hurt the guy behind the punch, then more often than not, you're not going to hurt the guy when you throw it. You have to have the intention in your mind of hurting him. And you'll find some extra snap, some extra spite on the punch when you throw it if you have that intention in your head. That's the thing. It's all in the mind. This is what Costamado said, called throwing punches with mean intentions. It's the intention behind the punch that's so important. And again, you have to train like that. You have to train with mean intentions behind your punches. When you're hitting the bag, when you're sparring, when you're on the pads. Gerald Washington throws what they call don't hit me punches, where he don't really want to hurt you. He just wants to keep you off him. I mean, even when he made that big rally in the Jarrell Miller fight, yeah, he was trying his best. He was hitting as hard as he could. But why was he hitting as hard as he could? Out of survival. It wasn't because he really wanted to go in there and smash Jarrell Miller to pieces. No, it was, please don't hit me. Stop hitting me. Leave me alone. That was the mentality behind that rally from Gerald Washington in the Jarrell Miller fight. And if I've got their names mixed up a few times in this video, I'm not sure if I have. I apologize. But yeah, that was Washington's intention behind his shots. They were just don't hit me punches. No, it's no good. You don't need don't hit me punches. You need punches with vicious intent behind them. So anyway, drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about everything I talked about in this video. All right, it's happening.